Welcome to Learnit Training. The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello everyone and welcome to Copilot from Microsoft Word. My name is Joe. I'm going to be facilitating this course for you today and we are going to have a lot of fun. Microsoft Word and Copilot work together so well. But before we can actually get into Copilot from Microsoft Word, we have to talk about what exactly is Copilot.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
When you open up a Word document, you'll automatically notice that Draft with Copilot is available. You'll see the little icon. Now you can either select that icon or press Alt-I to draft with Copilot. So if you click on it, you'll see we can automatically start to describe what we want to write, or we can include notes that we want, or even an outline, and then Copilot will generate the draft for us. For this one, let's say, please create a document that explains the benefits of learning and development in the business world. And let's see what it comes up with. You'll also see right next to it, we have reference the file. So we can reference file, which we will talk about in a little bit, where we can have it build a draft based off of something we've already pre-created. And then I'll click generate. Let's see what it comes up with. Now remember, this technology is young and it's not perfect. So if there is anything that comes up that might not be accurate, or if we don't like the way it looks, we can either edit it, and I'll showcase rewrite with Copilot for that, or we can just start over again. But as you can see, it's pulling information, and look how cool this is. It's starting to write it out for us right in front of our eyes. So we'll give it some time to continue writing. And we'll see what it comes up with. So you can see as we go through though, I mean, it's coming up with some really awesome stuff. So far it has about a page of content, and you'll notice that it's using different headers and subheaders here. So everything's being organized nice and neat. You might have to do some changes and there we go, we have it, or we would just put a page break here. But let's take a look at what it came up with. The benefits of learning and development in the business world. How investing your employees can boost your bottom line. I think that's amazing right there as a subtitle. Learning and development, L&D, is the process of providing training, coaching, mentoring, and other opportunities for employees to acquire new skills, enhance their performance, and grow their careers. Now at this point, we can actually go through the document and make any changes that we want to keep. We could say keep it, or we can say make it more formal, or we can actually delete it or regenerate it if we didn't like something. So let's go through and let's say that I don't like to maximize the benefits of employees. So I can click into here right now and I can say to keep it or regenerate it. And then it'll regenerate once again. Now, since everything is selected at this point, it's going to probably regenerate the whole thing. I'm going to just say stop regenerating because I do like it. But we can go through each thing now and start to say if we want to keep it, which I'll say keep all of it. Now at this point, we have an awesome looking document. It's 2 pages long. And as I said before, we're going to make just a couple of small minor adjustments. I might come in here and do a page break. You can use page break using Control Enter. So put our page break right here. And then also if there was any minor things that Word didn't like, we could say programs and adjust and improve accordingly. But other than that, this looks perfect. And we've done this within a couple of minutes, a whole document, and it is on its own one of the best ways to actually get information and create it into a nice simple document like this. Now you will notice that the editor and Copilot exist next to each other. We're going to talk about their relationship with one another and how we can further analyze our documents to make sure that they're exactly the way we want them. Now that we have our document drafted, the next thing I want to showcase is how we can rewrite with Copilot. Let's say that we wrote this document and now we want to make some changes. Maybe this is a little too much for me. So I'm going to select it. Remember, you can always double click to select one word. You can do a triple click, 1, 2, 3 to select the entire paragraph, or you can do a control click to select the sentence. But I want to select the entire paragraph, so I'll do 1, 2, 3, and then you'll see the little Copilot symbol, and it'll ask you two things. Do you want to rewrite with Copilot or visualize as a table? We're going to talk about visualizing as a table in a little bit, but let's start with rewrite with Copilot. When you choose rewrite with Copilot, it's going to draft a bunch of rewrites, and it drafts them in different ways. For instance, right now it's going to finish up here with our first result, and this is going to be training, coaching, mentoring, and other opportunities for employees to learn new skills. I can go to the second style. L&D is the process of giving employees, or I can go with a third style, training, coaching, mentoring. So there's 3 different styles that they've now created for us. We can choose to replace it or insert below it. You can also regenerate if you want, or adjust the tone. This is something that's really important. If I decide that I don't want it to be neutral, I can act a little more professional on this one. And let's regenerate as professional and see what it comes up with. And it should usually come up to about 2 or 3 different options. So for professional, it only came up with 1. It says training, coaching, mentoring, but then it came up with 2, and then it came up with 3. So if you only see 1 at that moment, don't worry, it's still generating behind the scenes. Let's click on more casual. I want it to sound more casual for my learners. Okay, so this is more casual. L&D is when you give your employees chances to learn new stuff. Okay, that looks good. And then we see the second option and third. See if I wanted to be more imaginative. L&D stands for learning and development, and it means giving employees chances to learn new skills, boost their performance, and advance their careers through training, coaching, mentoring, and other methods. So this looks great. Once again, you can choose like shorter forms of it. But let's look at the last one, concise, and see what it comes up with. So this is a concise rewrite of our text. L&D means offering trainings. It's the process of giving employees training, coaching. So I really don't like this one. I did like the casual one. That one I really liked. It explained it perfectly. I even like this one too. But just to showcase our rewrite, we're going to change this. And let's go with this one. And there we go. We have a nice little introduction now. And I can do that with any of these. If I decide that something is not to my liking, like maybe like this one, I want it to be a little longer, I'm going to do a rewrite. And let's see what it comes up with. All right, this looks awesome. I'm going to make it sound a little more professional. And let's see what it came up with. I like this one a lot, so I'm going to replace. Now always remember, you don't have to replace it. You can also just put it below and then have an idea, kind of like a markup. So you can have your original and then whatever you thought might be a nice replacement, and then have it reviewed and then choose between you and your coworkers. Let's change a couple of things here that I didn't like. To attain, improve. I think this looks awesome. So we've used draft with Copilot to draft this document. Now we're using rewrite with Copilot to rewrite and change the tone of our entire document. Another really amazing feature of Copilot is being able to take text and turn it into a table format. Now, I've played around with this in the past, and some of them don't always work. If it's too text heavy, they don't have a way to do it. But let's take a look at this one real quick. Benefits of L&D for employees. Maybe I don't want to list them out like this, but I want it to be a little more so like a table to read through. So I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to click my little Copilot, and I'm going to visualize this as a table and see if I can do it. Like I said, you'll get different results because this is all randomized output. So it seems to be working really great. Look at this. This is amazing. And I'm going to say that I want to keep it. I think this came out perfect. So it's now taken increased motivation and engagement and then a description. And we can get rid of all of this. So now we have more of a table. Employees who participate in L&D programs can enjoy the following benefits. Benefit, increased motivation and engagement, and then description. Enhanced skills and knowledge, description. Expanded careers and opportunities. And you can do that with a lot of this. Let me just delete this one out. That looks good. So this is going to be awesome. And we can also grab all of this and see if it'll turn into a table. Now, not everything is going to be table worthy, so sometimes it won't. In our case here, because we have the colons and we have a description first, it should be able to figure out what the step is and then what the description is. So you'll see to maximize, you should follow these steps. It knows to call it steps and description. Not everything can be turned into a table though. Let's say if I can find something that wouldn't make a good table, something like this, I'll keep that. And let's see if they could turn this into a table. Most likely they won't. Hopefully I get an example of it not working just so you don't get nervous if you see that. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. It wasn't doing this a lot while we were testing this out. So it's funny to see what it can turn into a table and what it can't now. Before it wasn't as nice for turning stuff into tables. So I think it looks great though. These tables are looking good. I'll do one more table here. Tables, I like them a little better than the bullet points. And there we go. It's going to come through. I'll keep it. And I'll delete this. All right, and then you can make your breaks again wherever makes sense. So I have this one page. I might want to do a break here. Control Enter. And then I have these two on the second page. So I think this looks great. We have everything that we need here. Always remember that if it doesn't work the first time, try again a second time. If it doesn't work the second time, then it just might be that you need to change things up to make it work. All right, so that's how we can take data and visualize it as a table. One of the next things we're going to talk about is how we can use Copilot to actually reference a file that already exists in Word. Let's say, for instance, that I have this file based off of health benefits, and I just want a little bit more help from Copilot. Now, since I've done some of the work, I don't want to just draft it from scratch like I did before with Draft with Copilot, but instead I want to reference the file. So I'm going to choose what file I want. This one's called Word Example. Let's see if it'll find it. And then I'm going to choose Generate. So now it's going through all the information in that previous file. We're going to see what happens. And like I said, this was all about health, so I love the way that it's pulling it apart. So here's going to be a summary. This looks great. So this is a summary of healthy eating habits. Now I do want to add some stuff here, so I want to add a little bit more about the healthy eating habits. and make this into a full document. So I'm going to put this in the center, and let's say that I want a brief overview of key principles of nutrition, a nutritious diet. So I'm going to copy that. I'm actually going to go right underneath here and use Copilot to describe what I want to write. I'm going to draft this. I'm going to say, please give a brief overview, and let's generate it. So I'm going to start to now add things using a combination of the reference file and draft with Copilot, and then also the rewriting with Copilot. And this looks awesome. So immediately I get a brief overview, then I get an introduction, and then I get information. Now I do want a little bit more here. So I'm going to say for balanced nutrition, let's add in something else. Add information about a balanced nutrition. And let's see what it comes up with. Okay, generate. Let's see what it looks like. And there we go. This is great. So it's now going through and just putting more information. And I'll say I want to keep it. Now, if I don't want to keep some stuff, like you could just, of course, highlight it, rewrite it if you want. I actually do want to rewrite some of this. Let's do a rewrite and see what it comes up with. But it's always important to read through, make sure everything stays consistent, because using Copilot can get a little too out of hand if we're just doing different adds to different parts of the document. It might sound very, I would say, irregular throughout the document and non-consistent. So we want to be sure that we're concise and consistent with everything. Okay, so rewrite with Copilot. I like this one a lot. I'm going to replace. And I think that looks a lot better. So now we are having a lot more information under balanced nutrition, and we can do the same thing for all of them. As I said before, using the rewrite with Copilot mixed with draft, or even referencing a file that already exists, can truly help you to create an awesome final result for a document. Now we've seen two documents that were created. One created from scratch, which is our benefits of learning, and then our other document, which we created before, referencing my health document file. So with that said, we see that when we first click into our documents, we get our little prompt to draft with Copilot. But that's not all that Copilot does in Word. We actually have an entire Copilot pane that can help us out. So to find it, you're going to go to the Home tab. And inside of the Home tab, we're going to go over to the last command group here where it says Copilot. We're going to select Copilot, and it's going to open up the Copilot pane, where we can start to ask questions about this document, or we can even be prompted to summarize this document. So let's say I can chat, respond to your questions, and help with writing and summarizing this document. Maybe I want to summarize it. Let's say that I do want to do that. I can choose summarize this document. It's going to give me a nice little summary of everything, so I don't have to read through the entire thing, but I can get a pretty good idea of what it's about. So it starts with according to the document, and it's building it out still. And I love how it references it, so you can skip through to where you want to go. So for instance, if I want to read more about the benefits, I can jump straight to there by clicking benefits, and it jumps to the page. So that's a really cool feature as well as the references. But so far it says that the main ideas are what is L&D and why it's awesome, the benefits for employees, the benefits for employers, and then how to implement it effectively. So that's a pretty good rounded summary of what this document's about. You'll also see that now you can make this summary shorter or make it more casual. So as you start to ask Copilot to do things with prompts, it will then open it up to more prompts associated with what you just wrote. So for instance, since I asked to make a summary, now it's asking us, do we want to shorten it or make it more casual? And it'll continue to do that. Now, in order to reset that whole system, what you can do is go to change topic, and that resets all the history of what you've asked it already. So sometimes that's what you want to do to start fresh. So when you choose change topic, it just brings it back to the original prompts and says, okay, what do we want to do? Now, in the prompt areas where we can ask questions about this document, we're actually going to have a complete section on different questions we may want to ask. And then also, you'll see here that we have view prompts, which will showcase all the different prompts available. Whether we want to understand our document, it'll give us some prompts like tell me more about it, or summarize it, or list the pros and cons, or what are the important deadlines or milestones mentioned, or who are the key stakeholders in this project. We can also choose to ask questions. How can Copilot help? How do I add a table of contents? Give me a specific example from this document on how I can improve it for a leader. You can also go to view more prompts to view all the different prompts for Word. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And you can also use the microphone, which I really like, so you don't have to type it out fully. You can ask questions this way. So if I want to ask, what is the top thing to know in my document? What is the top thing to know in my document? I can then send that out real quick by using just the microphone. And let's see what it comes up with. It might come up with no result. And according to this document, the top thing to know from this document, and we'll take a look, and it's still writing it out with 8 references this time. It says the top thing to know from this document is that learning and development is beneficial for both employees and employers. L&D is when employees are given opportunities to learn new things, improve their skills, and advance their careers. This is beneficial for both employees and employers, as it can increase motivation, engagement, productivity, and innovation while reducing turnover and attrition. And I love that, right? This is so cool how we can see, just by asking what is the top thing to know in my document, how I can give that result. So yeah, try this out on your own. Try the Copilot Pane. If you exit out of Copilot Pane, you can always just click it open again. If you notice there is a little caret icon where you can move or resize or even get help about Copilot Pane or even close it out. And then if you do close it out, if you open it again within the same session, you'll get all of the previous responses that you asked it. Just like that. Asking questions in Copilot is going to be one of the biggest things that we can do for our Word document. We can also ask it to create things from our document. For instance, I can ask it anything about this document. Maybe I want to know the top benefits of L&D. So what are the top benefits of L&D? And we see that it also includes the references so we can read through and go straight to those references. Now, as it goes through, a couple other questions I might ask it is to create other content based off of this content. For instance, maybe I want to promote L&D now to my employees. So maybe I want to create a flyer or send an email. And once again, you'll notice that it starts to create new prompts for you based off of what you've already asked it and what its history is. If you decide to change the topic, these will go away. But let's take a look at what it says. It says, according to this document, the top benefits of L&D is increased motivation and engagement, enhanced skills and knowledge, and expanded career opportunities. Top benefits for employees are improved productivity and innovation, reduce turnover and attrition, and increase competitiveness and reputation. So that's pretty cool. Now what I want to do though is take some of these top benefits and I want to market them within the company. So I'm going to say, please create a marketing flyer based off of this document. And let's see what it can do. And according to this document, boost your bottom line with learning and development. And it starts to create it for me. Look how amazing this is. So now we see investing in your employees can have a huge impact, benefits for employees, benefits for employers. And I can quickly copy this now and put it into, let's say, a PDF or another Word document and make it look like a nice flyer. I can go an extra step too. Maybe I also want to create an email based off of this document to help market L&D. So let's see if it can create an email based off of this document. And awesome. So it gives us everything we need. It tells us according to this document, so the subject would be for our email, boost your business with learning and development. Dear the recipient, are you looking for ways to improve your business and stay ahead of competition? And it just gives us all the great stuff here. Now, if I was to take a look, I'll just copy this real quick, copy to the clipboard, and I'll just create another page break and paste it. You'll notice that once you paste it, those reference points are only for the output result. So they do not come over when you copy it. So no worries, you're not going to have like a random 1 or 2 in the middle of a sentence. This is what it would look like. And then I can just have my subject, and then I can do even a mail merge on this right away. So this is amazing. You can start to create information or emails or flyers or posters based off of information in documents that already exist. And we can also create documents using the reference of a file or draft documents from just an idea or even just a sentence. Now, of course, the more you put into asking Copilot to do something for you, the more you're going to get out. And you want to be very specific on what you ask it. Once again, if you want to ask it questions, you'll see that it prompts you for other questions, like what are the steps to implement an effective L&D strategy? Or what are the benefits of L&D for employers? You can click into that, and then after it gives you a response, it'll give you more prompts to ask questions. If you still don't know what questions you exactly want to ask or what's going to work with Copilot, I'm going to showcase real quick how we can access the Copilot Lab. But let's see what we have first here, and then we'll get into it. And there we go. Starting to create our output. And that looks awesome. And then it'll say what are the benefits of L&D for employers versus employees. And we could just keep going, just keep asking questions, and it gives us so much good information. All right, so try this out, and then we're going to get into how we can get Copilot Lab. Copilot made this awesome document for us, talking about the benefits of learning and development. Now, as I said before, Copilot and Editor are actually next to each other in the command group. And there's a reason for this. They go hand in hand. Even though Copilot can draft a document for us, it doesn't mean that it's going to always be correct in what it says or even in grammar. So I'm going to click on the editor as well, and you'll see that my editor score is at 94%. So they have a couple of suggestions. They're telling me the spelling is correct and the grammar is correct, but there are a couple of refinements, like formalities. Let's take a look. In formal writing, try spelling out the words. So they want me to say do not instead of don't. So I could say that, not a big deal, but I can also ignore it. Well, let's just go with it. We have another formality now because I did the do not. Now we're going to say do not miss the opportunity instead of miss out. So that's all done now. Let's see punctuation conventions. So it says outcomes, a comma before and or. Okay, that sounds good. I can do that. There we go, that's all fixed. If this was a resume, specific numbers of examples to add impact. It's not a resume, but I'll just say ignore once. And I could say impressive. And then it has another one, it popped up, talk about some of this, specific examples that add impact. I'm going to ignore this as well. So you don't have to always make the changes to everything. You can ignore some of the stuff that the editor asks. Let's look at vocab. So it says vocab, more specific adjectives. So instead of new staff, I could say inexperienced staff or fresh staff or unfamiliar. I think hiring new staff is fine. I'm going to ignore this. A huge impact. We could say a massive impact. Sure. Okay. So let's see what our score is sitting at now. 100%. So as you can see, we'll go through the editor after using Copilot to draft a document, and it's going to help us with a ton of different things, whether it be formal writing or refinements or corrections or even similarities. So check for similar online sources. We can also check for that. And this just goes to show the randomness of drafting a document. Even though we used Copilot, it shouldn't come back similar to anything else because every output for everyone is different. Even if you typed in the same thing that I did during this training, it would be completely different than what it says for me. But let's check just in case. Another thing you can do is insights, the document stats. So you can take a quick look, and that's fine. It says 0% of your text is similar to online sources. That's really good news. It's also very scary news because, if we can't tell if it's plagiarized or anything, or if AI is writing all our stuff for us. But you'll see readability, what percentages we have, averages, counts, things like that. With that said, once I'm done, I can exit that out, and there we go. The next thing we're going to get into is being able to get over to the Copilot Labs. So at this moment, I might have run out of questions to ask. So I'm going to go over to the little book icon where it says View Prompts, where I can take a look at the full list of prompts for Microsoft Word. I can say View More Prompts at the bottom here. It's going to open up prompts from Copilot Lab. Now I love the Copilot Lab because it has all the prompts that exist so far, and there's always new ones being made. You can quickly look at saved prompts that you've used before, like brainstorm funny names. If I liked it, I can save that prompt, and then it'll be in that category. Or you could see like list pros and cons, summarize this document, and I even have it categorized as ask and understand, so you can filter through the prompts. But if you still don't see what you want, you can select See All Prompts in Copilot Lab. And once you click on that, it's going to open up a web page and bring us to the Copilot Lab. One of the last things we're going to talk about is how we can use Copilot for Word on the web version. So what we're going to do is open up a blank document. I'm on the online version of Word, and you'll see right away that we have Copilot right here on our ribbon. So you'll see the Home tab, and you'll see Copilot. But just like before, we don't have to just use the Copilot pane. We have all the same tools that we had before where we can click into here and use Alt plus I, or even this little icon to write something. So let's do, please create an article about the future of artificial intelligence. And let's see what it comes up with. So it's pulling things together, it's getting everything ready for us. It's going to draft the future of artificial intelligence, opportunities, and challenges. And I just love how it just starts to really create the document right in front of you. So you can just start reading. And this looks pretty amazing. It has a lot of information so far. So about 2 pages worth of info at the moment. But it looks like it might even go into 3. So depending on what you ask it to draft, you may have shorter versions or longer versions, depending on how much information the AI wants to return in the output. But I think this looks good. Yeah, just about 2 pages, 617 words there. I'm going to say keep it. And just like before, we can go through, we can add images if you like. How cool is that? I actually like that image right there. So they have a little diamond up top where you can add an image. And look how cool this looks. Like I said before, it's good to see the editor though. So always make sure to open up the editing pane. That way we can see grammar. If there's anything that doesn't make sense, responsible, and okay, that makes sense. We could do that. And now we're at 100%. And we have just created an awesome document. Now at this point, we can, of course, go back and if we want to change this, just like before, we have all the same rewrites or visualize as a table. Let's do a rewrite, see what it comes up with. I want it to be a little more casual. Always remember that we can change it to click on the little adjust tone, click casual, and regenerate. All right, and there we go. It rewrote our casual, and now I'm going to replace it, and we're all set. With that said, always check your editor. It went back down to 99%. Conciseness. Let's take a look. All right, we'll say good. And now we're back at 100. So always use the editor and the Copilot together. As you can see, Copilot is so amazing and there's so much you can do with it. I hope you all enjoyed this course and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. To earn certificates and watch our courses without ads, check out LearnitAnytime.com.